Isn't it ridiculous? Absolutely bonkers. Let's talk now to Andrew Montford, Director of Net Zero Watch, because there's plenty to talk about this morning, as you might expect. Andrew, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
I've been talking to people about this new cities plan that, or towns, if you like, that Keir Starmer's got. I'm calling it Starmergrad. That if these towns were indeed erected in 10 different parts of the country, or possibly 100 different parts of the country, you can just imagine how awful they would be, filled with windmills and, you know, heat pumps and all the rest of it. But apropos of that, somebody rang in who I think works in the area, talking about a lot of the money that councils are spending right now on installing heat pumps in social housing, which I kind of didn't know. I mean, you may know more about this than I do, but seemingly they're spending an awful lot of money on a sort of compulsory installation into sort of 80 and 90-year-old homes of heat pumps that don't really work very well in them.
Yeah, I mean, the cost of the heat pump, as I think you and I both know, Mike, is very high compared to a gas boiler.
Yeah.
So what they're doing then is they are the councils are installing very expensive kit, which will deliver more expensive heating bills going forward. This is a win for nobody except the heat pump manufacturers, really. Right. So, yeah, that's a huge problem.
That one is one huge problem. The government's also announced new investment aimed at supporting clean energy manufacturing and skilled jobs, although we learned today from the Telegraph that a skilled job includes somebody who might be a dog walker or a DJ, so not quite sure what skilled jobs they're actually going to be bankrolling here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This has been something that has been going on for many years. The idea of, we get this thing about green jobs, don't we? And I remember there was a study some years ago which looked at what the government definition of a green job was, and they discovered it included things like bus driver. I mean, it's just, they make these things up as they go along.
And then they can just tick a box and go, oh, look, we've got 55,000 skilled workers. And you go, well, really? Have you? Actually, you haven't, have you? This is the point, isn't it? This is the problem with all of this, net zero madness. And I can't quite link up the two thoughts, really. You know, on the one hand, you've got the Labour government saying they're going to reopen the Rosebank oil field. They're going to start drilling for fossil fuels. And at the same time, Ed Miliband's saying, oh, yeah, we can have a third runway at Heathrow because it will be very biodiverse in terms of the fuel that they use, and it'll actually be better for the air in the surrounding parts of London. You know, they're not actually making any sense. I mean, they're making even less sense now when they talked about, completely changing over to electric cars and electric planes.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, both the Conservative Party and the Labour Party are completely divided on the net zero issue. And so we're getting this mixed messaging. I think we'll see in coming months that, if you like, the more rational sides of both parties will win out, because the economy so desperately needs growth that the green nutters, if you like, are going to have to take a back seat. The thing that struck me in recent in the last 24 hours is this new this press conference that Reform did.
Yes, I was coming to that.
Yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? Reform are saying that they are going to they're going to claw back subsidies from wind farms, which I thought was it's really important, because it could completely destroy investor confidence in renewables. If we do that, then essentially the whole renewables bandwagon grinds to a halt.
Right.
Which I think is really good and really important. What that will mean is that potentially in a few years' time, our bills will stop going up, which will be very nice indeed. Reform may have done the country a great service there.
So you think that this might make some of these green energy companies sort of take a double step and go, hang on a minute, maybe we shouldn't be investing as much money as we're about to, because we might have to give a load of it back. I mean, Richard Tice yesterday basically said that net zero policies are solely to blame for higher energy bills and deindustrialisation in the United Kingdom, and it's all a massive con. He and I have had these conversations many times. I completely agree with him. And not only will they claw stuff back, but they will basically completely and utterly scrap all of the targets. And I did, this is just to prove that I'm quite a boring individual at times. I was driving through the Rotherhithe Tunnel last weekend, and I thought as a sort of as a piece of research, which I could then report the next time we talked about this, I counted the cars coming the other way, and I counted about 110 cars, something like that, and only about 6 of them were electric. And that's in London, where many people are much more green than they are in other parts of the country. So if you take that as I know it's a very small sample, it's just one individual situation, 6% of cars are green is what that tells me. So, I mean, if people are now working out that if they've got an electric car, they're going to be paying more in tax, they're going to be paying more in duty, and it's not very green anyway. I think the green car sort of electric car revolution is over.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think it probably is, actually. You can see it grinding to a halt already. You know, the price for second-hand EVs has fallen through the floor because nobody wants them.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think the country can afford to go on expanding EVs. I think, you know, EVs, I think, have been a toy for rich people, and the number of rich people in the country is declining quite rapidly. So you know, the market for EVs is declining too. So yeah, I think that will grind to a halt too. We really need people to get serious about net zero policy. The thing I found refreshing about the reform press conference was that there was no pandering to the green blob, and all politicians pander to the green blob, and that has to stop.
Yes. Well, I had Nigel Huddleston on this week, the Tory MP, and I said to him, and he was talking about, you know, returning to proper conservatism under Kemi Badenoch and forming a proper opposition and coming back at Labour with a full-strength team. And I said, oh, good. So does that mean you're going to give up on your net zero commitments? And he was very woolly about it, and he wouldn't say that he would. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, again, this comes back to the divided party, doesn't it? You know, people don't want to step out of line on this because, you know, they might upset the other wing of the party. So it's safer to be woolly or to say nothing at all. That has to stop. I think any party that wants to be successful at the next election has to take a firm stand on this. I think parties, you know, the Conservative Party are going to have to face down, you know, the Conservative Environment Network, you know, the grouping of green-minded MPs, and just say, guys, be quiet. Leave and join the Liberal Democrats if that's what you want to do. But we are now going to adopt a rational energy policy. That's the only way we're going to save the country.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Andrew, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Andrew Montford, the director of Net Zero Watch. Wouldn't that be brilliant if Reform get in and they just did away with all of it? Completely. And also, what might be also interesting is the fact that if, in fact, the reform policy and prediction of what they would do has a chilling effect on the net zero companies that are now trying to milk a load of money out of the government, that would also be rather good.